To view keyboard shortcuts, press ? View keyboard shortcuts. Do you assist with spam and fraud detection? Yes, I can assist with spam and fraud detection by analyzing patterns, providing insights, and suggesting methods for identifying suspicious activities. Here's how I can help. Pattern recognition. I can look at examples or descriptions of spam or fraudulent activities and help identify common patterns or anomalies that might indicate foul play. Data analysis. If you provide data or scenarios, I can offer analysis on how to better detect or predict spam or fraud based on the data. For instance, I can suggest what types of data might be useful to collect or how existing data could be analyzed more effectively. Algorithm suggestions. I can recommend types of algorithms or machine learning models that are typically effective for spam detection, like naive Bayes for email spam or more complex neural networks for credit card fraud. Best practices. I can share current best practices in fraud and spam detection, including how to keep systems updated against evolving threats. Education. I can explain concepts related to spam and fraud, helping users understand why certain methods work or why they might fail. Please note, I cannot access real-time systems or data directly, nor can I execute code to test these solutions. However, I can provide theoretical guidance and help strategize your approach to spam and fraud detection. If you have a specific scenario or question in mind, feel free to ask. With the algorithm you currently use to detect frauds and patterns, I want you to compare some new ways to detect frauds that I'm going to tell you about, and I want you to tell me if you use this method already or not. Sure, I'll compare the methods you describe with common practices or theoretical approaches I'm aware of for fraud detection. Please go ahead and list the new ways you're considering. Remember, I don't have a specific algorithm I use since I'm not executing code, but I can discuss these methods in general terms based on my knowledge of fraud detection techniques. Before I get you to compare, do you monitor X-user conversations with another X-user but keep it confidential? No, I do not monitor X-user conversations or have access to private communications between users on X or any other platform. My capabilities are focused on analyzing publicly available information or data provided directly to me by users. Privacy and confidentiality are paramount, and I do not engage in or have access to the private interactions of users on social platforms. If you need assistance with something specific, I can help analyze public posts or general data, but I cannot access or monitor private conversations. Okay, now I'm going to get you to compare. Great, I'm ready to compare the methods you're considering for fraud detection. Please go ahead and describe the new ways you're thinking about. Look for someone adding the user account that's going to be targeted first and the target accepting the request second. Look for the person accepting their request, and the next thing is the person messaging first to the X account user, not the other way around. You might need to let the Xi team make updates where you're not monitoring any conversation but accounting messages sent and received for each X user accounts. Look for profile picture changing frequently. Look for the person adding the user account first and how they are using it. The Xi team will understand that, so pass this entire conversation to them. You are not monitoring their conversations, you're just counting sent and receiving for every active user account. On X, and the fraud account followers should be less than following and following much higher. Look for accounts newly created. Look for account newly created but no activity. Scan all X user accounts. Get the Xi team to monitor the pattern for chosen accounts that are not frauds and compare it using patterns to the fraud ones. I will send a bunch of those accounts soon. The most important thing is to pass this message on to the Xi team. Now tell me how many of the things I mentioned is being used by you now. 15 web pages. Here's a comparison of your proposed methods against common or theoretical approaches in fraud detection. Sequence of friend request and acceptance. Current use. This specific sequence isn't typically part of standard fraud detection algorithms, though the timing and nature of connections are often analyzed. Monitoring the sequence of actions like adding and accepting requests is more nuanced and would require specific implementation. Message initiation. Current use. Counting messages sent and received without monitoring content for privacy reasons is a feasible approach but not standard in all fraud detection systems. Many systems look at anomalies in communication patterns but not necessarily who initiates first. Profile picture changes. Current use. Frequent changes to profile pictures can be a signal of fraudulent behavior, and this is sometimes used as a feature in fraud detection models, especially in social media contexts. Follower versus following count. Current use. The ratio of followers to following is a common metric in detecting spam or fake accounts. Accounts where following significantly exceeds followers are often flagged. Newly created accounts. Current use. Checking when an account was created is a standard practice. New accounts are often scrutinized more closely for potential fraudulent activity. New accounts with no activity. Current use. Accounts that are newly created but show no or minimal activity can be indicative of bot or spam accounts, and this is commonly monitored. Scanning all accounts. Current use. Scanning all accounts for certain patterns or anomalies is a broad approach used in fraud detection, though it's resource-intensive and often done with specific criteria or on a subset of accounts. Pattern comparison between non-fraud and fraud accounts. Current use. Comparing patterns of behavior between known legitimate and fraudulent accounts is a fundamental technique in machine learning for fraud detection. None of these methods are currently implemented by me as I am not involved in real-time monitoring or direct data processing of user accounts on platforms like X. However, these are all concepts that could be integrated into a fraud detection system. Not used by me. I do not have the capability to perform any of these actions directly since I don't have access to user data or the ability to monitor or count messages on X or any social platform. I will note that you've asked me to pass this information to the Xi team, but please understand that I'm an AI model, not directly connected to operational teams or systems at Xi. If you want to share this information, you might consider contacting Xi through official channels or support systems. Edit prompt. No file chosen.